So we are having veterans come in and tell their stories.
Well, the first many years I was a medevac helicopter pilot.
And we like to use this museum because I think it evokes a lot of memories.
For several hours inside the Freedom Museum in Manassas, Virginia,
what was your specialty at work?
Members of the National Court Reporters Association tapped into the minds and into the memories.
Our mission was to go in and pick up the wounded and the dead.
Of local Vietnam veterans, like decorated helicopter pilot and author Douglas Moore.
I took a round that went through, hit my helmet right here, and came out behind my left ear.
This retired colonel's remarkable record of service includes nearly 2,000 combat missions, in which he evacuated nearly 3,000 men.
There's just something about being able to save people and get them back to medical care so that they can at least save their limbs and save their lives in so many cases.
We were training them.
This event is far more than an exercise in reminiscence for retired Colonel Carlos Colat.
That's when I got banged up the first time.
Stenographers are transcribing every word.
And did you enlist? And what motivated you to enlist if you were not drafted?
Their answers to be archived into the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress.
We need to cherish these veterans and cherish their stories, and it's really important to have these, logged in for history.
Our job was not to question, our job was to do.
For some, far too many heartbreaking and harrowing memories remain.
He's gone.
Like the very first time Colonel Colat tried to land his Huey while surrounded by gunfire.
And there were green traces from the bad guys coming up, and red traces from our Cobra gunships going down, like a highway of lead, each a different color. And I said, this is serious. Never forget that.
All these years later, each carries a unique perspective from that complex time in our nation's history.
War is the last resort. We've got to be smarter than that.
Yet, to this day, they remain forever bound by what brought them to Vietnam so long ago: honor and duty to country.
I serve with soldiers. I love being a soldier. Bury me with soldiers.
You definitely earned those medals with the service that you provided our country and to those thousands of people that you probably saved.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure and an honor to meet with you and hear your story.
I'm Jay Korff for 7 News.
A statue of famed abolitionist Harriet Tubman is visiting the D.C. region for the very first time, and 7 News on Your Side was in Montgomery County to capture the moment. Our Jay Korff has the journey to freedom you'll see only on 7 News.
Iconic abolitionist Harriet Tubman traveled far and wide in the 19th century to move the enslaved to safer spaces via the Underground Railroad.
I really see her as, the human manifestation of the North Star.
Friday, a 9-foot-tall likeness of the famed emancipator called The Journey to Freedom by Wesley Wolford moved via flatbed into the D.C. region for the very first time.
It is a 2,500 pounds bronze beauty that has been traveling the country for the past few years and inspiring people about the life and legacy of probably America's best-known freedom fighter.
The statue's first stop, Butler Montessori School in Montgomery County.
She was one of the chief people on the Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad historian Anthony Cohen arranged for the statue to visit here so students could experience this critical figure in U.S. history.
Her strength and her determination are so clear in her face.
For educators like Natasha Soderberg, this moment an invaluable one for students.
And what we hope is that it gives them a jumping point to do more exploration and more research and find out many more things about Harriet Tubman.
The statue's final stop, only minutes down the road at the Button Farm Living History Center in Germantown. A forklift carefully easing to the ground a piece of history now nestled in countryside, once familiar to Harriet Tubman herself.
She's in the environment that the statue depicts her being in, escaping through the wilderness.
Anthony Cohen runs this education space to see this stunning artistic expression of resilience, struggle, and liberty is the culmination of a lifetime's work.
And this is very emotional because I've dreamed of this happening and now it's here.
So for the next 2 months, this statue will remain on display here at the Button Farm for programs and events open to the public so you can experience the journey to freedom. I'm Jay Korf for 7 News.
Wow, isn't that beautiful? And Harriet Tubman was born into slavery in Dorchester County, Maryland. In Cambridge, just miles from where she grew up, is the Harriet Tubman Museum and Education Center. And 7 News also showed you when her bronze statue was installed last year at CIA headquarters at Langley. The agency calls her an intelligence pioneer. The abolitionist was also a spy during the Civil War, gathering information for the Union Army. The statue shows Tubman holding a lantern and a pistol in her belt. Thanks to her intelligence, more than 750 enslaved men and women escaped unharmed.
What I can't figure out is where I put the bowl.
For Montgomery County resident Kat Safran,
This feels like Twilight Zone at this point.
smoking marijuana with a group of strangers under the presence of law enforcement is admittedly a bit surreal.
It's only a little bizarre, and now I get to laugh at it.
Especially if you're high.
Especially if you're hot.
While there was a lot of laughing on this night, this event is designed to save lives. Safran and her fellow medical marijuana cardholders are participating in a critical partnership with Montgomery County Police.
Unless they are fully educated, they don't know what to do when they run into somebody who is high.
Everyone here smokes for medical reasons.
I have very high anxiety. It's made a night and day difference.
At this event, held at the Training Academy, participants smoke for 30 minutes, then give a saliva sample to a third-party lab. After that, police conduct field sobriety tests.
Okay, when do you normally take those throughout the day?
By the time Safran got through 30 minutes of inhaling, something she says she never does,
Normally, I think I'd finish one of these in an evening.
it was pretty clear she was impaired.
I can't think of the word because I'm stoned.
The goal here is to compare the saliva results with the impressions training officers observed while conducting the field sobriety tests, thereby allowing them to make more educated decisions on the job.
There's a benefit for law enforcement to get to see real-time impairment. There's also a benefit to the cannabis community to get obviously exposure to law enforcement, but also take a step away from this and say, you know what, maybe I can operate a motor vehicle safely with the amount that I typically use.
Montgomery County Police now want to partner with Maryland state lawmakers to determine a measurement for cannabis impairment. As we know, blood alcohol 0.08 is a national standard. There is no national standard for cannabis impairment. In Maryland, Jay Korf, 7 News.